Welcome to today's episode of Financial Fluency. Today I am here with Erin Hook Kelly, OBM and founder of MemberVault. Hey Erin, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good. So we were just sitting here reminiscing about how we first met, which you had a podcast that was called Success Secrets for Entrepreneurs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you also had a group to help people launch podcasts and a course,
Yes.
which I was part of when I first started my first podcast, which was this one. It's
Right?
funny, I've had two more now, but but yeah, that started a lot of things for me. And I also recently moved my course materials over from Thinkific, where I was hosting them for my group membership and some little courses that I had. We're moving it all over to your product, MemberVault.
Mm-hmm.
So while I am trying it out, we have not actually made everything live and done our little launch yet. So I have questions for you about MemberVault. But first, why don't we talk about how you got into doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, awesome. So basically, first of all, it's so crazy how we've known each other for 2 years and watching our business evolutions along that time, because everyone has such a evolving path that they kind of like test things out and then they're like, okay, like I want to go in this direction, then this direction. So my path definitely, it started as OBM work. And I loved doing that. It was fantastic. And go ahead.
For anyone who's not familiar with the acronym.
Yes. Online business manager. Yes. Basically a second business brain to help you out with your business. So yeah, so I love doing OBM work. It was fantastic. And this MemberVault thing kind of came out of nowhere because of one of my OBM clients. We were working on her courses and we were trying all these course tools. And this was over a year ago. We didn't really like any of them. They were, they were buggy. They were hard to use. They didn't work the way they wanted them to. I mean, it was just like constant headaches. And my husband is a developer. And at night I would be griping about these tools that we were using. And he finally got fed up with it and was like, I can develop something better than that. Like this is a pretty simple thing for me to create. So we actually created MemberVault originally just for this one client without any intention to mass market, sell it, or continue it in any way. And so she started using this tool, and at that time it didn't even have the name, right? It was just a custom tool that we developed for her. And all of her users kept coming to us and being like, we really like this tool. We want to use it. How can we buy it? And I actually fought the idea for a while because I was like, I love doing the OBM work and I know how much work goes in to developing a new product, a new business, all the marketing stuff that people don't realize goes into a successful product. It's not build it and they will come. I mean, you build it and then there's a lot of work that goes into making it successful. So actually, my husband for a long time thought that I hated MemberVault, because I was like, I don't want to be a SaaS tool. Like it's going to be so much work. I don't know that there's already so many course platforms out there. Like I don't want to try and sell this. And we just had so much.
Can you pause again? SaaS. It's another acronym, just in case someone's not familiar with it.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Software as a service. So it's any kind of software tool that you're using where you're paying a monthly fee for it.
Okay.
So I really was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I love doing the OBM work. Like I don't want to put the effort into a second business. And, but so many people kept coming up to us and really wanting to use it that I was like, okay, there's something here. And over the last year, we've really evolved it into what it is today. And it's, it's really developed beyond just courses. Now it's a content platform where you can put your free content and your paid content. And it has become, I absolutely love it. I get so excited when I use it for myself and I'm like, this is such a cool tool. So I'm really glad that I made the leap to put that time into it. And it is merging into my full-time business.
Oh, cool. Well, that's great. So in terms of putting your free content there, you mean like blogs, videos?
Yeah. So mainly free content in terms of your opt-in. So it's gated content in terms of someone needs to sign up for your opt-in. But so any podcast host, I think it's a fantastic idea to throw together an opt-in of maybe your top 10 episodes that you want people to have continuous access to. Because the really nice thing about MemberVault is once they have access to their account in there, they can log in and see not only what the content that they have access to, but the content that they don't have access to that they want to buy or sign up for. So it's a great way to surface all of that really great content that you have, whether it's paid content or content meaning services or products, right? So it could be a wait list for your one-on-one. It could be a pre-validation for a passive product that you're considering doing. Because one of the cool things is that we track with our reporting what people are doing inside that content. So it's super cool. Like you could be like, I have an idea for a passive product. I want to see if people like it. So put the cover in Member Vault and put some information, and then track to see how many people check it out. And then you then have leads to sell that program to if you decide to actually do it. So it's really powerful in terms of what you can do with the tracking.
And so you're pushing traffic from somewhere else to that like cover page
to the Member Vault. So what I like to do is we have a particular piece of free content that shows off our content ladder framework process. And so I just give access to all of our new subscribers just automatically. And then in the first welcome email, I say, by the way, like you have access to this awesome piece of content, and you just log in here with your email, and the email is the username and password. And then when they log in, they have access to that one thing that I gave them access to, but they can also see all of the other stuff that we have available, like our free trial, our VIP service. And so it's really cool. See, I don't know how much we should go into this, but like, it's really cool because we have teaser content. And so if they check out some of our paid products, you can actually see like so-and-so looked at the VIP service teaser content. And so then you can follow up with them and say, hey, a little birdie told me like you were checking out the VIP service. Like, do you want to jump on a discovery call?
That's interesting. So I was just reading Jeff Walker's Launched book. That's my book I'm reading. And and yesterday I just sat down with a friend who does launches. Launches are not something I've ever done. I've done membership. I've done just like make something and then tell my community. There. So this friend was helping me, and we kind of mapped out a 3-video series for me to film today and tomorrow. And try to. I could do it all there, because that was one of the things I was like, oh, do I put the videos on a lead page? Like, where am I hosting this? How do I get people access to it? I could do it right there in Member Vault.
You totally could, and you could just use the drip subscription method. So then and it's really cool, because what happens with the drip is that it shows the video that they have access to, right? And then it'll show that the next one's unlocked. It kind of like grays it out a little bit, and it'll show like they're getting access in one day to that video. So yeah. And then the cool thing is you can track. Yeah, you can track like
it opens in so many days too.
You could you could put that in the description, right? So yeah, I mean, you could totally use it for that. And this is what I get excited about when I'm looking at how our users are using their Member Vault. It gives me all these great ideas, because I'm like, oh yeah, you could totally do that, or you could totally do that. Like you know, it's really flexible, and really the core of it is that you get to track what people are consuming. So those people that consume all of your videos, you can send them a special offer. You can send them a follow-up email that makes them feel really special. And we originally created that because of the whole issue with people buying courses and then not completing them. So we wanted to be able to send those like accountability support emails to them, but it has morphed into the ability to follow up with sales leads, follow up with clients that aren't doing homework. I mean, the opportunities are pretty much limitless.
So as far as being able to track actions and follow up, is there a bit of CRM figured in there? CRM.
Right now you're dropping them.
I know. What is it?
It could be customer or client relationship management.
Relationship management. Okay, that's what it is, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, in this sense, it's sort of, I like to compare it as email marketing. So if you use ActiveCampaign or any smart email service where you can go in and look at what users are opening, what they're clicking on, you know, you go into that contact's information and you can see what they're doing, right? So it's like that, but with your content. So you can actually look at your user view and be like, oh, wow, so they checked out this teaser content, they completed this course, they completed this lesson, they, you know, did all these different things. And it also tags them inside of your email service. So if you want to trigger an automated email when, say, someone completes a course or completes some free content or something of that sort, you can send an email that says, hey, like you just finished this, like this would be a great next step for you. So it does it in both ways. So you can go inside of Member Vault and see the tracking manually, and then you can also do automated stuff using your email service.
Cool. That sounds really neat. So in terms of actual customers using it, how long have you guys had it live and available for customers?
That's a good question. So we have a 15-month-old that that definitely takes up a lot of our time. And we started Member Vault with our first client before he was born. And so there was definitely like a chunk of time that we didn't do anything with it because we were on maternity leave. And then there was time where it was like, okay, are we really going to move forward with this? So I think really seriously treating it like a business, doing a lot of market research, getting beta users, probably around 6 to 8 months that we've really been focusing on it. And within the last like 2 months is when we've really been pushing visibility. We hired an OBM. We've been starting using some extra lead generation tools, that kind of thing. So like we really, really within the last 6 months are starting to take it super seriously and treat it like the business that it is. And it's really cool because we're seeing increased signups. We're seeing a lot of visibility. I just did an interview with the Active Campaign podcast, which was like, I totally fangirl, like geeked out on that because I was like, oh my God, we're going to be on the Active Campaign podcast. So we're getting a lot of visibility and new signups, and it's really starting to take off, which is exciting.
Okay. So while you were going through those things, a couple things popped into my mind.
Yeah.
One is, I know you have an Active Campaign course or training that you teach as well, right?
So I don't. So this is actually a great discussion.
I know before we it somewhere.
Well, you do. So Adrienne has it inside of her area. Since I'm Adrienne's OBM, I basically recently, when we really made the decision to move forward with MemberVault as a business, I had to make a decision because we're doing the digital nomad thing. We have a 15-month-old. I do a lot of work with Adrienne as her OBM. And we're growing this MemberVault business, right, which takes a lot of time. Something has to give. And my OBM business, where I was doing mentorship and active campaign trainings and stuff like that, that was the thing that gave. So I really I cut everything. And I gave Adrienne all of my courses that I had done up to that point. And so she has them for all of her clients. And yeah, I just was like, okay, like I can't put my energy there anymore.
Okay, well, just to clarify, this is Adrienne Dorson, who has been on the show as before, and I've worked with Adrienne too, which is why I see your courses in.
Right.
So, yeah, because it was the podcast success course I saw exists in MemberVault, and also
active campaign masterclass. Yeah.
And you used to train other people to become OBMs as well, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I was just going to talk about like how many things you've done that you then turned into products of some kind.
Yeah.
So how does that work financially, the products being on her?
So there's an interesting book. I don't know if you've read it, The Pumpkin Plan. And when I read that, it really made sense to me because it was like, you can only put your energy into so many things. And so you have to choose the pumpkin that's going to grow the biggest, right? And really just put all of your energy into it. And so by pumpkin, they mean, of course, business. And so
plant a few seeds though, to see what's going to grow.
Right. Sure. Yeah. And it could be business and or products and services, right? So like the product or service is doing really well. And actually the founder of Convertkit did the same thing. Like he had multiple different products that he was supporting back in the day. And he had books, and that's actually Nathan Barry. That's how I first found him, was through his book. And so he had all these different products and services that he was supporting, and Convertkit was floundering. It wasn't doing very well. And he was talking to one of his mentors, and they said, okay, like now's the time. Like, are you going to keep moving forward with Convertkit, or are you going to drop it? Because you cannot keep supporting all of these different things and expect it to succeed in the way that you want it to. And this is not an easy decision. It was not an easy decision for me, and it was not an easy decision for him based on everything that I've read. But he was like, okay, I'm going to go all in with Convertkit, and I'm going to stop supporting this other stuff. And that means I'm going to stop selling it. I'm going to stop doing customer service for it. Like it doesn't exist anymore. I'm not going to try and like do passive product in the back end, because then you're still energetically connected and having to do customer support, and it gets complicated. So he cut everything and just went all in with Convertkit. And of course, we know Convertkit is, I don't even know what their revenue is, but it's insane. It's like $700,000 a month or something crazy. So it worked out really well for him. And I had to make the same decision where I was like, I have these successful, at the podcast course, I had my OBM mentorship training. I had my active campaign training. I had a lot of credibility built up in that marketplace. And I just was like, I want to keep working with Adrienne Dorson as her OBM. I love her business. I've been working with her for 2 years. It feels a little bit like it's my own business, right? I'm so connected with it. And then MemberVault, which just has some amazing legs to it, and it could be so scalable. I was like, okay, the one that has to give is is the Erin Hook Kelly brand with all the OBM and active campaign training.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Because I have to admit, as someone who's had things start and I have trickles from different places. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for a long time, my husband and I were fully focused on our ranch, but I kept noticing that we were getting these iTunes payments from our old music that we used to do, even though we'd really stopped. And, so I eventually like made a website for it and put it all in one place and pulled it together. And now we do have a thriving label going again, which he runs, and I do
That's so cool.
social media and like newsletters and stuff like that for it. But it's true. I do feel, I feel distracted on a daily basis doing multiple things.
It's a drain. It's more of a drain than I think we acknowledge, and you don't know it until you cut it. And then you're like, oh, wow. Okay. So that actually was sort of like always in the back of my head, draining me and keeping me from being able to just go all in. But that's not to say that I'm against diversified income. Like, I think that that's really important. So like I said, my husband is a developer. So occasionally, if a really hot, like cool development job comes in, like he'll take like a one-off like deal, he'll take it. And, I do have my OBM work, so that's diversified. And then funny that you mentioned that, like I actually, back in the day, I was a homestead blogger, and I wrote a book about building and living in a yurt. Because that was some crazy thing that we did. And so for the last 5 years, I've been getting, and I self-published on Amazon. And for the last 5 years, I've been getting between $40 and $100 a month from Amazon, but I don't support it in any way. Like, I don't share it. I don't do anything for it. So it's just living on Amazon, chugging away, and I get payments every month from it. So as long as it's not pulling any energy from you, I'm totally okay with it. But yeah, you really do have to be ruthless about your energy.
Yeah. See, with the label now, it's fully active again. Like we closed it down when my daughter was diagnosed with autism, when we got really, like, we had a period where we were just focused on autism and our ranch. But then when I noticed it, and I went to B school with Marie Forleo, and I started being like, if we optimize that, if we focus some attention, it might grow. Now that we're in full like record launch mode, we just last week had our biggest launch in a really long time for a record. Very different scale from the things that you and Adrian do, because these, it's a product. It costs so much each one.
Right.
And we have to ship them and manufacture them. So it's like a lot of stuff going on. But the digital part of it does feel totally hands off. Once we upload it to, our digital distribution, it goes to iTunes and everything, then it's like, okay. I mean, we do push traffic and stuff, but I'm trying to figure that out right now, like what I'm all in on.
It's hard. It was not an easy process for me. There was a lot of emotional late nights where I'm like, is this the right decision? Like like we said before we got on here, like I had this podcast, I had all these guests, and I'm like, what do I do with that? Do I still pay for that? Do I still keep it up, even though it's not leading to anything that I'm currently selling? It's not doing anything for me. And so, I mean, I just had to really be ruthless about making that decision. And once I did, and then kind of like connected all the dots about what I had to do to kill it, right? It did feel like a living creature. I had to kill it. And immediately I felt so much better. Like I was like, I have so much more energy and time to focus on the two two businesses that I am supporting.
That's interesting. I think I probably get into inertia. Like I was really surprised when Adrian stopped her podcast too, because it was very successful. And it seemed like it brought a lot of, from the outside. Of course, I don't know actual numbers from the inside, but it seemed like it brought so many people to her and had lots of downloads and stuff.
Absolutely.
And it just, like, when she told me that, when I was like, why'd you stop it? And she told me why. And I was like, that would never have occurred to me. Like, I like my podcast. I like talking to people. This is something I enjoy in my business. And it just would not occur to me to stop it.
Well, and you just have to pay attention to what's serving you, right? So if I think it really comes down to, is it draining you? And is it really pushing you forward in the direction that you want to go? And if it's not, it's time to really reevaluate and look at the numbers, right? Which I think that you can appreciate. And, it doesn't mean that you can't have another podcast. Like I'm probably going to be doing a Facebook Live web show that I then repurpose into a podcast that goes to iTunes for our Member Vaults business. And all the things that I learned, for the last 2 years, I'm going to be applying to that so that it launches even stronger. But it is going to be pushing the needle forward on the business that I'm focusing on.
Okay, so for people listening who know that there are these different platforms, like Thinkific, like I said, that was one I was using before. There's like ClickFunnels. There's like,
so many.
What makes Member Vault different?
So that is a fantastic question. We get that one a lot. First off, it has evolved into a content platform. So instead of just being for courses, you can, like we said, you can put your free content. So your cheat sheets, your checklists, your video series, your evergreen webinars, anything audio, video, or text can go into MemberVault, and you can put your landing page link in there so people can, go check it out and then sign up for it. You can put your tripwires, so swipe files, like whatever your tripwire is. You can put your wait lists for programs that haven't launched yet. Like you can put your one-on-one services. We have a lot of people that use it for their resource areas for their one-on-one clients. Really any content that you want to surface to let people get access to, you can put inside of MemberVault. So it really is truly kind of almost a different beast than Thinkific and ClickFunnels and all of those.
Okay. And then this part of engagement.
Yeah, so engagement is the other piece of the puzzle. So you actually can see what people are going in and checking out, what they're consuming. You can see your most popular content. You can see your best leads, right? So we have something called engagement points, and it actually measures your best content and your best users. So you can go in and like for example, I do this every morning with MemberVault. I go into our MemberVault and I check out who has peeped out our VIP, and I reach out to them. I also pay attention to who has the highest engagement points, and there's like a leaderboard inside of your dashboard. And so I can reach out to them and be like, hey, like, I really appreciate you being so such a great user, like such a involved consumer of our content. Right. So that's kind of the manual piece of the puzzle. And then the automatic piece of the puzzle is that it does tag them with different actions. So if they pass a quiz, if they complete a course or content, if they check out your teaser content, then they get tagged inside of your email service, and you can use that for triggered email. So it's like, hey, awesome, like you completed my course, or you completed that checklist or whatever, and send them, an email, either sales or nurture email, to make them feel really supported. So that works really well for people.
That's cool. So something that just came up for me, and I'm going to explain this for a second. I actually haven't been into the back end of MemberVault because I work with
because you have an OBM.
who was one that went through your OBM training, and she's been setting everything up for me in there, so I didn't know about the leaderboard. But one thing that just came up was affiliate. Do you have plans to put in an affiliate program?
Yeah, so that's one of our most popular questions when we're talking to new leads is, do you have a payment processing and do you have affiliate tracking? And really from the very beginning, we built MemberVault to be modular, meaning that it'll work with whatever tools you're already using, because that was one of our frustrations with the original course tools that I was using with that client, is that they forced you to use their sales pages, they forced you to use like all of their own stuff, and it didn't work really well. So we wanted to make a platform that would play well with SamCart, would play well with your lead pages, with your ClickFunnels, like whatever it is that you're using for those different elements. And so we, at this point, don't have payment processing because it wasn't ever part of our vision, or affiliate, but because it's such a popular question, probably Q1, Q2 of next year, we will be putting in payment, like simple payment processing for Stripe and PayPal, and also start doing affiliate tracking, because I know that that's kind of a nightmare to find a good tool that does affiliates.
Yeah, I think so. And I've been an affiliate for a number of different launches and had drastically different experiences kind of depending on how it's set up.
Yeah.
So can I tell you something that I like as
yeah, definitely.
Selling something for somebody else? Like, I love being able to see how many clicks I've brought in and then how many people have bought. It would be nice if I could see who, so I knew like, oh, okay, I don't need to keep bothering these people about this affiliate thing.
Right.
Like if there was a way to, because I feel like the ones that I like best is where I see my numbers shoot up after I take an action, and then I'm like, I have ownership in it. I feel like I'm really involved.
Gamification. You're like, yes, I want to keep doing it. I want to see that number go higher.
And I like being able to check it myself rather than waiting for the
update
person to post a leaderboard or something. And to be honest, leaderboards, I get discouraged because I'm not as big as a lot of people in some of these launches. So when it's all like super competitive, I don't really like that, but I like knowing how I'm doing, like, oh, I brought 400 people in so far. Like that's actually, I can put, given the numbers, the ratio.
Right.
like, okay, if I can bring 400 more in over the next 2 days, like, it just kind of helps you keep the momentum going and feel inspired.
Yeah, so I completely agree. I feel the same way. And I will tell you that SamCart does all of that for affiliate tracking. The sad thing to me, and this is why we actually are looking at adding this, because up to this point, up until recently, I would tell people to just use SamCart because they're an awesome payment processor and they're an awesome affiliate program, or they have an awesome affiliate program. Unfortunately, I got in a year ago with SamCart, and so I got like all of their stuff with my plan. But recently someone went in and they were like, yeah, did you know like that the affiliate center is only available if you do the $199 like premium plan? I was like, oh, that's a tough sell for people. $200 a month. Like you need to be making a pretty good chunk of money every month to justify that, or have a really strong affiliate program already.
Right. So if it's your first time and you're testing it out, then it's like,
right.
Oh, am I going to make that back this month?
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say that for people that really want to have a strong affiliate program for their products and services, that SamCart is fantastic, and you get all of the upsells and you get, all of the really fun bells and whistles with that $199 plan, a month plan. But that we are planning on adding a simplified affiliate tracking and payment processor for people that aren't ready for that.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. What other frequently asked questions are you getting?
So people want to know how the tagging works. They are very interested in it, but then they're also very overwhelmed. And I know this from back in the day when I was doing all the email marketing. It's like people get really excited about, all the things that they can do with automations, but then they're like, and segmentation, and they're like, but I don't even know what to segment for. Like, so I love the idea, but then it's very overwhelming, which is one of the reasons we built it the way that we did in Member Vault, is that it gives you a lot of ideas on segmented emails that you can send, like, people that are checking out this lesson, people that are completing these things. So that's a really common question, is people are like, how does this work? And then once we tell them, they're off to the races.
So as you work through, as you put your content in, does it suggest to,
it doesn't, but that's a really great idea. And that's something that I was telling my husband, because I'm the strategy brain, he's the development brain. And I'm like, can we do it like this? Like, and he goes, yeah. So it's one of those time things. So it'll probably be next year that we start really doing that super stylized like onboarding. Right now what it does is it tells you like, hey, you need to, set up your like styling, your logo, like change everything to your brand colors, like put in, some basic information, but it doesn't really do the like kind of guidance onboarding yet. But I really do want to do that at some point, because I think that makes a huge difference as a user.
Yeah, I think especially for people who are like, I went from MailChimp to ActiveCampaign now, and having all the options doesn't necessarily mean I know what to do with them.
Right. It's so true. Yeah. I mean, I think that happens with a lot of people that get into ActiveCampaign and they're all excited, and then they're like, uh-oh, like, what do I do next? So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I love about Drip as a email service, is their onboarding is fantastic. It's like, do this, then this. I don't like it because I've been using ActiveCampaign for so long that I felt really like restricted, because I was like, I don't want to do that right now. Like, I want to do something else. But it's really great for people that are just starting out.
Drip is part of another company.
Lead Pages.
Okay. Because I've definitely seen things being sent to me, because I do have Lead Pages. That must be what it was, because it was asking if I wanted to do Drip, and I was like, we just like
no. Stay with Active. I love ActiveCampaign. They're my peeps, but yeah, I mean, Drip is very shiny, and in terms of that onboarding process, they do a good job. They're really, I think they're more structured for people that have small businesses rather than entrepreneurs. But yeah.
And freelancers. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, the line between entrepreneur and freelancer and self-employed, we all get a little muddled, especially when it's like solopreneur. There you go. That's one thing a lot of us can call ourselves, I think.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Well, great. Is there anything else you want to share about Member Vault before we wrap it up?
Well, something that we've just introduced that's really fun. So you said that when you get in there, even though you have all these options, it's hard to know what to do. One of the things that we've been testing out is to fix a pain point that people have, which is doing follow-ups with sales leads. So we all know that doing 5 follow-ups with a potential sales lead is going to maximize your sales conversions, but it gets really awkward because you're like, what do I write next? Like, I don't want to be hounding them. I don't want to be pushy. And so we actually started testing out follow-up gifts. And so we put a follow-up gift inside of our member vault. And then on the second follow-up with someone, we say, hey, I just gave you access to this like complimentary thing as a thank you for, talking about member vaults and like, yada, 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 right? And we've had such an amazing response rate on that. People are so excited and they write back and they're like, this is awesome. And then you get to see them log in and consume some of that content. So it gives you another point on your next email, your 3rd and 4th and 5th email. So you can be like, hey, I saw you checked out this, or hey, like you would love this, or, it gives you like a little bit more information around your potential lead. So that has been like a huge thing for people that are trying that out and getting really great results and not feeling quite so like pushy salesy with their follow-ups.
Nice. Gifts always are nice. People love gifts. I love gifts.
I know. Gifts are amazing.
And can I ask one more question? Because you mentioned earlier about the homesteading and living in a yurt. When we lived on the ranch, we were off the grid out in the middle of nowhere. Yep. And right now you said you're a digital nomad. So does that mean you have no fixed abode at this moment?
Yeah, so we are living in a 30-foot travel trailer, and we've traveled all the way down. So we're in Washington right now. We went all the way down to California until it got too hot, and then we came back up, and we're going to be going down to Texas to spend the winter. And actually, for 90 days here in Washington, we only had electric and water. We didn't have septic hookups, which for anyone that has done the RV thing, like that's kind of crazy. Like we had to haul our gray water and everything to the dump like every 3 days. It was like 400 pounds, like poop wagon. Like, so on top of all the other stuff that we were juggling as entrepreneurs, like that was an additional fun thing that we got to do. But, it's all about the experience, right? So you got the highlight reel and then the less highlighting.
My husband and I, the year after we got married the month after 9/11, and his immigration got stalled. He's from England. So we spent a year abroad. And when we were in New Zealand, we did that. We got a camper van and just lived in it for we only did it not quite 2 weeks, but I remember the hookup, because I was like, wow, we can park by this lake. We can park anywhere. And I'm like, oh, we actually do have to hook up to some things now and then. And
so we've been doing it for 5 months now, and we've learned a lot. And I totally had those glamorous ideas too. Like there's a program called Harvest Host. And so you can sign up for, I think it's like $20 for the year. And they give you a map of all of the wineries and farms and distilleries and museums that will allow you to park on their property. And of course it's off grid because it's like in their parking lot or next to their vineyard or whatever. But I was like, oh my gosh, like we're just going to like travel around the country and like park at vineyards and like be working, right? Because we have wireless internet. And we did it once, and doing it with a baby and not being able to have the baby monitor running was a little too intense for us, but because it's a whole thing, like running off of batteries, you couldn't run the baby monitor, and the water pressure is not so great, and all of those things. So it was a little bit of a cold like water on my dreams of parking next to vineyards and working in the ocean and all that stuff. But I mean, it's really pretty much like living in a house when you have full hookups. It's smaller.
How big is it? Did you say?
It's 30 feet. So it's about 188 square feet.
Interesting. Huh. How long are you planning on doing that?
We'll see. I think if we end up having a second baby, we will not be doing this anymore because there wouldn't be any extra. We don't have any extra space. But for now, it's great. We love doing it.
And I guess that is one of those last periods of time where you can do something like that because there's school involved. And where do you think you'll settle in the end?
I love Washington.
Yeah,
I absolutely love Washington. I'm not a huge fan of the dark winter. I don't mind the rain, but the darkness is hard. So I don't know. I'm a wanderlusty kind of person, so I love the home on wheels, but I also know that space and having a caretaker for 2 kiddos and that kind of stuff is the realities. But I love Washington.
Well, that's really exciting. Good luck on the rest of your journey then.
Thank you.
And it's been great talking to you. Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
Bye.